Let's go. So today we're breaking down the Missouri Tigers. Comment down below, do you believe LSU is actually going to win this game? And one of the biggest disparities in this game is the third down conversion percentage between these two schools. Now, the big story going into this game is Luther Burden, okay? Now, before I actually show you just throw, you'll see right here that Vanderbilt actually gets unblocked pressure right up the gut on a delayed blitz. But when you have a receiver as good as Luther Burden, you just throw it up and hope for a chance that he is going to make the play. And you see right here, bang, Brady Cook takes a pretty nice shot right there. And look at where he still is able to deliver this football to move the chains. So, like I told you, LSU is by far the best team in the SEC when it comes to third down conversion percentage. And as many of you know, the LSU defense has not been good getting off the field on third down. Missouri is actually 10th. So if there was a chance for the LSU Tigers to be better at getting off the field, it would be this game. But Burden is the real deal, okay? So one thing we want to talk about is just getting off the field on third, and if LSU should actually press their corners a little bit more. You see, in this situation, I would have liked to have seen this corner right here get his hands on Luther Burden at some point, and it was, to me, just a little late at that point. He's already got you beat. You're leaning. You're just praying that you don't even fall down at this point, and this is what happens when you're going up against a player like Luther. If there's a guy that I would compare him to, it's honestly, he's very similar to Kayshawn. Their best running back is Cody Schrader. Okay, he's, to me, a watered-down version of Jacob Hester and Stephen Ridley put together. Okay, now, as many of you know, LSU's tackling has not been good up to this point in the year. I want you to see him go up against C.J. Taylor right here. Just watch this. Watch this. Boom. That is so gross. And I brought this up on the live stream yesterday. That is the worst truck stick I have seen in the SEC, not named Caleb Jackson, up to this point in the year. Filthy run. So one important thing to point out about Missouri is they do have the best kicker in college football this year, Harrison Mevis. He is a thick individual. He's got a gut like you and me. Hit a 61-yarder to win the game versus Kansas State. All right, so LSU has had some adventures when it comes to first place coming out of quarters, and this is one of them in this game, okay? Once again, this is Luther Burden. Theo Weiss, number one, is also a good player, very experienced guy. But this right here is some kind of coverage bust. They bring a blitz just coming off the edge, and then you just give Luther Burden all this room to run after the catch. Now, one thing about him is, to start his career as a true freshman, he really wasn't much of a deep threat. Most of his touchdowns came on reverses and plays that involve low average depth of target. So this is his natural habitat, throwing the football to him and allowing him to make some plays after the catch. Now, the Missouri and LSU offense, very similar in one regard. Their favorite play has been the slot fade, okay? LSU and Missouri combined for 5 slot fade touchdowns just this past weekend, okay? And even previous to that, most of LSU's touchdown success have come on this play. From the slot, you're just running a fade, and I want to show you a few things. So you're taking a look at the average yards per pass attempt. Missouri is number 1, and they're actually 5th in passing yards per game. However, their rushing numbers aren't as good, okay? They are 10th when it comes to average yards per carry. So I would force them to run the football, but I do want to bring this up as well. They can run in between the tackles, as you saw with Trader. We're going to show you this via Nathaniel Pete as a running back now. So the first thing here is Vanderbilt gives Missouri a light-ish box, okay? Looks like it's a 6-on-6 situation. And watch what happens to this backer right here, okay? Luther Burden's been killing him, so on this 1st and 10, they actually bring this corner up to guard Luther Burden, and they actually have this linebacker kind of bracketing Burden right here. So his gravity helps create a very big numbers advantage at the beginning of this run, okay? Now, The truth is, I would prefer to watch Missouri try to run the football on us. Even though LSU's rush defense is the worst in the SEC in terms of yards per carry, I'd rather them run than pass because a run just isn't as good as a pass. So at this point, watch this. 94 is in position to make a play. Obviously, this isn't, the best block shedding you'll ever see. Everyone's pretty much getting dominated by this assignment. But you've got to make this play if you're 94. And at least he did a decent job slowing Pete down some. And they get an explosive run. I would honestly prefer to watch them do that instead of watch our secondary go into shambles yet again. So now we get to here. And, you get that big run. Now you got the play action game going, even on a 2nd and 19, okay? I don't know exactly what the safety is doing. He's playing with this mouthpiece, but he is not giving any help over the top. Looks like this is some variation of cover 3 with a robber, if you will, right here. And the play action fake opens itself up, and this actually isn't Luther Burden on this throw. This is actually Theo Weiss, the transfer, I believe, from Oklahoma. And look at all this separation he's getting right here. Look at this ball. So, once again, I prefer them running on us instead of passing on us. And that actually wasn't Weiss. That was their number 3 receiver. Now, offensively, there's really just nothing to fix with LSU. You don't want to, tinker too much with how Jaden is playing up to this point. But I do want to point out one thing about Missouri's defense is they have not been able to stop this play. Just a simple zone read. Will Howard isn't some special kind of runner. They just crash down on the running back every time. And this is just a walk-in touchdown for Howard at this point. All right, so Blake Baker is just a good defensive coordinator. He was a good coach for us the year he was here. And it is important to communicate. Okay, the last time LSU played at Missouri, not only were they 0 for 10 for 3rd down, they also struggled with the stunts, okay? And you'll see right here, 8 is coming on a delayed pressure right here. And you see across the way that this offensive line does a good job picking up all the stunts. It's just the running back right here. I think he was at Florida State last year, Trayshawn Ward. He actually doesn't pick him up. He just goes on his own route. So 8 on the delayed pressure is able to get unblocked pressure right up the middle. And Howard just kind of throws it up. And this is the guy who's their playmaker. Chris Abrams-Drain. He was a LSU wide receiver commit for a long time, and now he is, of course, with Missouri, okay? And he transferred. I mean, he didn't transfer. He switched positions to DB, and he's been a really, really good player, okay? So, yeah, I mean, you could see this Missouri defense being a very good unit. They are really good against the run. They're able to stop that counter GT right there, and they are, I believe, number 1 in the SEC in defending the run.